Hello, this is James Himm Mitchell, your intuitive guidance counselor, here with your week in tarot. And this week's deck is going to be the Tarot of the Lotus Circle by Marilyn Campbell. And so, deck on the table. I'm going to take the deck in hand and I'm going to shuffle. And if you've been following my videos for a while now, you know that I draw 3 cards for the weekly reading. And the first card is going to represent the overall experience we could possibly have for the week. And the second card will be what tarot is asking us to consider, what it's offering to us as possible guidance or advice. And if we take the advice being offered, the next card is going to be the most likely outcome that we could experience for the week. Okay, so these are our cards. And our first card is the 7 of Coins. Okay, so now this card is asking us to take an investment, an evaluation of our life experience up to this point in time. What I like about this deck is the image on the 7 of Coins here. The woman has a pad and she's weighing the pros and the cons. You know, she has a list, and on one side is a plus sign and on the other side is a minus sign. And so what she's doing is she's taking stock, she's taking an inventory of her life to see what's not working for her, which is the minus side, and then what is working for her, which is the plus side. And she's making some decisions based on what she determines is working for her and not working for her. So this week we're being asked to do the same thing. This card for me is about taking stock, taking evaluation of our lives, seeing what's working, what's not working, and what we can do differently. Sometimes with this card, I see it as, in business, there's a term called a return on investment. So what we do is we invest our time, our energy, our resources, which is what coins are about. It's about our resources. We invest those resources in certain areas of our lives with a particular outcome in mind. And so sometimes we get that outcome, which is the return on the investment, and sometimes we don't. So we're being asked to look at life that way. What are you putting your energy into, and are you getting a return on that investment of your energy? The other thing about the 7 of Coins is that this is a card that's asking us sometimes, in certain situations, is that we have to wait for things. There is a spiritual principle called seed and harvest, meaning like what you reap is what you based on what you've sown. So you have to look at the return, going with the idea of the return. Is the return equivalent to the seeds that you've sown? And if not, what different seeds do you need to plant in order to get the harvest that you were expecting? Because it may be the seed. It could also be the soil that the seed is planted in, being figurative here. But even with that, there is something that's in between the seed and the harvest, and that's time. And so sometimes the 7 of Coins is that waiting period between the seed and the harvest. It's the waiting for results card. So sometimes in life we just have to wait. The other thing about the 7 of Coins, and this is a challenge, is that you may know the work that you need to put into a situation, because sometimes this card is about hard work that pays off. But the challenge with that is you know what the work is, but you have not done the work. This card can sometimes warn of procrastination. So you have to be honest with yourself, going back with the evaluation. If you know there are some things that you need to be doing, but you're not doing them, and you're putting them off, you know, procrastination is just putting something off for a later point in time, then you have to ask yourself, what do you get out of the procrastination? Because that's a behavior, and the only way you can change behavior is to first identify what it is. Awareness is key. What it is. The 7 is a number of insight, self-awareness. So you ask yourself, once you identify the behavior, why do you do it? What do you get? What's the payoff? Coins, going back to the value in it. What's the payoff in the procrastination? What do you get out of it? Because you wouldn't be engaged in it if you didn't get some sort of return on that kind of energy. So it's about looking at those. So this is about reaping a harvest, hard work paying off, possible procrastination, but at the heart of it, it's about taking stock of your life, taking an inventory, seeing what's working and what's not working for you, and then what could you do differently in order to get a different result, to reap a different harvest. Okay, so that's our first card. Our next card is the Hierophant. Okay, so now the Hierophant is a major arcana card, whereas the Seven of Coins is a minor arcana card. So if you've been following my videos, you know that I always say that the major arcana cards carry more weight when they show up in a reading. So right now, this is very significant. The Hierophant is all about learned behavior. For me, this is the process in life as a psychologist and a counselor. This is the process of life in which we're being socialized out into the world. So this is about what are we learning through the institutions in our society. The first major institution that we grow up in and we learn from is our own family. The family is an institution. So this card is asking us to, when we're taking stock and we're taking inventory of our lives, one of the things we might want to really strongly consider is the wisdom that we have gained through conventional means. What is it that your culture is teaching you? What is it that your family has taught you? What is it that society is teaching you as a whole? And then once you identify what those possible lessons are, do you still need them? Are they outdated, outmoded? Is it time to learn a new thing? The Hierophant, not just with lessons, it's also about beliefs. Sometimes when we learn things over a period of time, it becomes a belief. And so this card is questioning, what is it that you truly believe? Because there may be a belief or a belief system that needs to be re-examined and possibly changed. But the only way you could change it is to first identify it. First identify the belief and then identify where it came from. And then ask yourself, is that still true? At this stage in my life, going back to the Seven of Coins, is that belief that I've been holding on still true? Or do I need to change it and move on? That kind of thing. So that's the Hierophant. And then our last card is the Five of Cups. So now we have a pattern here because we have two fives. 5 as a number, because the Hierophant is 5. 5 as a number represents change. And again, it represents beliefs. So, because it carries the theme of the Hierophant in Tarot. Now, numerology is just about change. It's about being a free spirit. And that's the other thing, since I mentioned free spirit, about the Hierophant. The Hierophant is we're doing things because we want to conform. We want to fit in. We want to seek some kind of approval. Or blessing from some external force outside of us. So keep that in mind too. So the 2 5s are significant in that regard. So again, it's questioning what it is that we believe. So now the 5 of Cups is all about disappointment. This card carries with it the sense of loss. Typically the image is, and it is on this card too, that there's usually out of the 5 cups, 3 are overturned or spilled and 2 are upright. And usually the person on the card is focusing on the 3 cups that are spilled and the contents that are lost, because once the cup is spilled and the contents are gone, they are gone. There's no getting them back. And so sometimes in life we are challenged with the idea of looking at what it is that we've lost and focusing all our attention and energy on it. The other aspect of the 5 of Cups is that it can be, if you do that long enough, it creates a sense of regret, remorse, disappointment. And I learned this a long time ago. There's an equation that says disappointment equals expectation minus reality. So what happens is we set up an expectation and then reality sets in, and that's where the disappointment comes in. Because sometimes our expectations are greater or higher than the reality. And so, that's where we get disappointed. And sometimes, too, with the disappointment, we have regret or remorse, which is another aspect of the Five of Cups. So it could be like when you go back to the Seven of Coins, if, for instance, let's say you take some stock of your life and you have more things on the minus side of your list than on the plus side, you may spend some time in regret or remorse about that. You know, like, why did I do that? Why did I spend so much of my time and energy in that? And that really doesn't do anything to serve and support you. All that will do is keep you stuck in what it is that you've lost. The other side of the Five of Cups are the two cups that are still upright. So that when we get this card, we're being asked to shift our focus from what it is that we've lost to what it is that we still have. You know, what's the potential? The two cups upright represent the potential for what still could happen or what we still have remaining. It says that all's not lost, but when you just focus on the loss, that's all you'll see. So this is asking us to, you know, and it may be the same thing with the minuses now that I'm thinking about it. It could be like if we spend all our time focusing on the minuses or the cons of life, that's all we'll see and that's all we will experience. You know, but if we take the time to look at what we still have with the two cups and take a look at what we have working for us, which is the plus side of the list, then life will be a much better experience for us. You know, so that's what this card is. It's about the expectation, working through the expectation, the disappointment surrounding the expectations, and saying, where do you go from here? It's okay to feel the loss, to grieve the loss, to mourn the loss, but at some point, you have to shift your focus from that to, you know, moving on, seeing what's remaining, seeing what's the good in the situation, those kinds of things. So, summing up, again, the Seven of Coins is asking us this week to take stock in our lives, take a personal inventory to see what's working for us and what's not working for us. And then with the things that are not producing the return on our investment of time and energy, ask ourselves if this is worth it. Is this worth the energy that I'm putting into it? And if not, then the only way it's going to change is if you are willing to do something differently. Okay? The Hierophant, going right along with that. If something's not working, then you're being called to look at what it is you possibly believe around that particular situation, circumstance, experience, even people. What are you believing about that? Because there's something about the belief that has to change. And then going with the Five of Cups, if you work on changing your beliefs, you may experience some disappointment, you may experience some loss, you may experience some letting go, but it has to happen in order for you to move forward, in order for you to have a new experience. You have to be willing to let go of those things. If you don't, you're only going to get more of what you've already gotten, and if it's not working, you're only going to have more of that. So, these are our cards for the week. This has been your Week in Tarot. I am James Himm Mitchell, your intuitive guidance counselor, and I look forward to sharing this space here again with you next week. And until then, have a tarot-tastic week and take care.